What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 7. Top DFS picks.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for this week's NFL slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NFL Week 7, let's take a look at the quarterback position. My top DFS pick at the quarterback position is Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers playing the Houston Texans, who have the 4th worst defense overall and they're middle of the pack defending opposing quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers has averaged 23.2 fantasy points per game on the season. He gets an average of 1.6 rush attempts per game. He doesn't rush the ball much, but he doesn't need to. And he's coming off of an awful game versus Tom Brady, which I called that game. I knew Tom Brady didn't have back-to-back bad weeks, and that's the case as well with Aaron Rodgers. He only scored 6 fantasy points last week, threw a couple of interceptions. So I'm expecting a big bounce back performance from Aaron Rodgers here this week. He's projected at 20.5 fantasy points here in Week 7. He's $7,000 DraftKings salary and $1,100 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 56.5 points scored in this game. They have the Packers favored by 3.5. So you got a pretty good matchup here. A super high scoring game. The Texans just gave up a ton of fantasy points to the Tennessee Titans. This is going to be a close, competitive game. And I think Aaron Rodgers bounces back in a big way here this week. So I like Aaron Rodgers here versus the Houston Texans. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. My top DFS pick at the running back position is James Conner from the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the Tennessee Titans, who have the 7th worst defense overall, and they give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. James Conner has averaged 18 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 15 rush attempts per game and 3 pass targets per game. He scored 20, 15, and 28 fantasy points in the last 3 games, projected at 16.7 fantasy points here in Week 7. He's $6,700 DraftKings salary and $500 more on FanDuel. So I'm expecting this to be a high-scoring game, a close, competitive game, and you have a great matchup here. The Tennessee Titans give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Their defense isn't all that great. You saw last week they gave up a bunch of points to the Houston Texans. So I like James Conner here versus the Tennessee Titans.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL, MLB is still going, NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. We know he's fully healthy now, so my top DFS pick at the wide receiver position is Julio Jones from the Atlanta Falcons playing the Detroit Lions, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Julio Jones has averaged 19 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.5 pass targets per game. He scored 37 fantasy points
off of 10 pass targets last game. He's on the field for 70% of the snaps, projected at 16 fantasy points here in week 7. He's 7,100 DraftKings salary and 1,200 more on FanDuel. So Vegas thinks this is going to be a high-scoring game. 56.5 points scored in this game, with the Falcons favored by 2.5. I think this is going to be another major shootout here. Great matchup for Julio Jones. Tons of points scored in this game. I think he can get another 2 touchdowns here. So I like Julio Jones here versus the Detroit Lions. Okay, moving on to the tight end position. My top DFS pick at the tight end position is TJ Hockenson from the Detroit Lions playing the Atlanta Falcons, who have the absolute worst defense overall, and they give up the second most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. TJ Hockenson has averaged 11.3 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 10, 11, and 9 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 5, 4, and 7 pass targets. Oh, he's averaging 5 pass targets per game on the season. He's on the field for 70% of the snaps, projected at 11.2 fantasy points here in week 7. He's 5,000 DraftKings salary and 800 more on FanDuel. So I've been waiting for TJ Hockenson to have a breakout game. He's been consistently scoring around 9 to 11 fantasy points. He's been productive, but now he has a fantastic matchup here versus the Atlanta Falcons in a super high scoring game and a passing game script in a game that Vegas thinks that the Detroit Lions are going to be trailing by 2.5. So I like TJ Hockenson here versus the Atlanta Falcons.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.